Welcome to the best game that I have ever seen this far. This game came out 3 days ago or 2 days ago in global, and it's a stunning game. So, for my older subscribers, if you're watching this, I'm stopping with Summoner's War. I'm not making any more content simply because there are better content creators out there. So instead I shifted to this new game which I really enjoy playing. I play like all the day, all the time, and I love it. And since it's new, there's like a pretty big confusion when it comes to how you should reroll, which characters are good, what you should focus on. So I have some experience with these type of games, but I'm not, of course, a pro. So I will try to dive into the game and explain which characters are good and what you should focus on and how to do whatever you want to do. And I will start with Black's Brawl. So I don't know why I actually picked this one as my starting point, but apparently I shall start with this. So in this tier list, as you can all see, there are some very wacky things that surprised me a lot, just as much as it surprised you. Before I start explaining why I place certain things in those positions, I want to tell you that it's only been 3 days since the game was released, and everything is extremely wacky right now. Most of the characters don't even have a proper explanation of their skills. They're just, hey, they do this, they do that, and the explanation is just terrific. So, of course, I don't own every single character, so I cannot try them for myself and tell you. So, based off of just text, and I have tried some of the characters, but mostly based off of text and on paper, I have ranked these characters. Some still remain wacky. The final thing that I want to put in the disclaimer is the unknown tier list, the unknown tier, which has like 2 characters, and I placed them there because I just don't know. I don't know what the hell they do. I know, but I don't know like how effective they are. Like the carrot girl just heals, but we don't know how much the heal is. There's just not enough info. And red, he's also kind of the same. He does damage, but we don't know how much damage he does and stuff. So I just put them on the side until I get them, until I level them up and try them myself, and maybe ask some other people too. So let's start with Negi. Why, in my opinion, is he the worst character for PvP, for Brawl Arena? This tier list, I don't know if I told this before, it's only for Black's Brawl. Only for that content. It's not for War Chest, it's not for Tower, it's not for anything else. It's only Brawl. So why is he the worst character? His first attack, which is the special skill, is terrific. It only reduces the opponent's defense by a very small amount, so that's nothing. Although his meta skill is actually very interesting. It's basically like the biggest thing about his skill is that it just cleanses. It does some extra stuff, but that's the most of it. His lethal is terrific. His first passive is terrific. All of his passives are just terrific. So in my opinion, he's just not a good character to bring in Arena. Of course, you can bring him, you can try him. I might be wrong, but I highly doubt he will be any good. Next on the list is Dragoon. So why is he not high? Dragoon in general is a very good character, but he's just not good for that content, simply because he just does not offer much. With his special skill, he creates a shield. That's all. He just creates a shield, and that shield for PvE it's fine, but if you look in PvP, there are so many characters that just do so much damage, and his shield is just non-existent basically. So his shield is just, his special skill is almost non-existent. His meta skill though, it just increases the counter chance, which is not really anything special. His lethal is just bad, like pretty bad. His first passive is also pretty bad. His second passive is, it's kind of okay. If you upgrade it too, it might be decent, but not really. Passive skill, he's good for other content, but for here he's just not. So with this one, some people might be surprised why isn't A so low in the tier list. King, in my opinion, is just not a good character for this content, and I think he's not good in any content. I might be wrong though, of course. That's simply because he only does damage, and it's just not enough damage. Look at all of the rest of the characters in B+, and even in C. All of them just do a lot of damage in general. Like mostly on B and top, but some characters on C just do a lot of damage. He is a ranged character that in order to activate his special skill, he needs to get close. I think that just says everything. His special skill, oh wait, no. This is the meta skill, my bad, sorry. So his meta skill is kind of iffy. Like it doesn't do enough. It costs 4 meta, and meta is very hard to collect. It costs just 4. It's a lot. It's a lot for a skill that just pushes back enemies, like in a circular area around you. It's just not good enough. His lethal is also just garbage. It's very bad. His first passive, it's pretty bad too. Like I'm trying to excuse this character because I'm pretty sure there are people that really like him, but he's just not good. I cannot see him like being good in Brawl in any way, shape, or form. Like look at Bob. There's Hawkeys and Abby. Why would you use King over these two characters in any situation? You would not. Like, because these two characters are just better. They do King's job, but just way better. Girl, Lorette, she is weird, and she's one of those monsters that you just cannot gauge on paper because her skills are so bad written, you just don't understand anything. I really sat here and just tried to read it, and I do not understand how her lethal works. Besides the lethal, the special skill is just not anything special. It just does damage and puts a bomb on that target. It's really not like something special. And then with her meta, you can detonate the bomb, which is just not really special. Like you do, how much? Her special skill does not even say how much damage she does. So I assume it's just small and it doesn't really matter much, which says something. And then you have to attack someone and then use your meta skill and use meta points in order to actually do damage and activate the skill, which is kind of trash. And then her lethal is just, I cannot understand it. Like, what the hell? Her first passive, it's not too bad, because sometimes you do stack a good amount of meta when you don't really have anything to use, like you don't need to use anything. So I guess that kind of fixes her, but not really. Her second passive, trash. Her third passive, it's okay. It's not special. That's all. So moving on to the C tier, we're starting off with Reddy. Oh boy, this character is just all over the place. Like, she has a clone, alright? It's not too bad. It's okay. It can do some damage. It can take some hits too. Her lethal is also pretty decent. I don't think it's bad. It's pretty decent for a lethal. Because in this game, for some reason, I think that lethals are not really that good. Or at least like the lower ranks just have like weird and not really anything special lethals. But she has a good one in my opinion. Her first her special skill, it's also pretty nice. But when we go to the passives, it's just depressing. Like the passives are not really anything special. I mean, her third passive is pretty nice. It's not too bad, but it's still nothing really special. Like she's a fine unit, but there are just better units that you can pick. Like in C tier, if something is in C tier, it doesn't mean that it's bad. It's just you have better options in the upper tiers, right? So like everything from D and below, I would say it's just bad. Like there are not like too many units that are bad. It's just that in C there are better options. Next one on the list is Abby. Abby's kind of similar to Hockey's, although I think Hockey's is a bit better, and I'll explain why. So Abby, she's just a sniper. She has very good range, so you can just put her on the back line and she will still get hits. She doesn't need to go like anywhere near maybe like some dangerous close range character. But the thing is that I'm not a fan of her special skill. I don't think it's a good skill, because you spread the damage. That's not what a sniper should do. You know, like she should have like a lot of burst, and that's where she fails kind of. Her meta skill does give some burst. It's pretty nice, but the lethal, she again spreads damage. So she is a sniper character that stays on behind, like on the back, but her special skill is not a burst skill, and her lethal is also not a burst skill, which is really confusing me. Her passives actually are pretty nice in my opinion. Her first one especially is just very good. Her second one, it's okay, and the third one, it's okay. It's not anything special, but her passives in general are above average in my opinion. Next one on the list is Hockey. Hockey is actually one of my favorite units, and before I actually built her and tried her, I didn't really like her. I thought she was pretty trash. But she's actually very good, and the reason why she's above Abby in my opinion is because she plays the role of a sniper just way better than Abby. Like, she's way better at sniping. She has longer range with her meta skill. She can use the meta skill, which is only 2 meta, which is very cheap skill. And she increases her own range by 1 block. Meaning that while she's not a sniper, she has a bigger range than the sniper, which is weird, and yeah. Then we got the special skill, which ignores a portion of the enemy's defense, which sniper, hello? The lethal is just, I don't understand why the developers actually did that. A character that's supposed to be a burst character and to snipe things from afar has an AoE. I don't understand. And this character specifically, you cannot use her lethal if there's like not enough characters aligned, not enough opponents aligned. It's just very bad in my opinion. Her passives are actually very strong. I really like her first passive, it just works the entire kit. The second passive is just not, I don't know why they also did this. She's supposed to be a sniper, like why does she need magic defense? I don't get it. And the third passive, it's an average passive. It's nice. It's a nice one. Yeah. He's not really special. Ellie. Ellie was wait. Ellie, what? Who the hell is Ellie? She's Kaylee. Jesus. So Kaylee. She's also one of those characters that I thought they were trash, but they're actually very good. And Kaylee, I should. Yeah, I think Kaylee should be a bit above in the C tier. She does retarded damage. I had my Kaylee do 2000 damage with barely any setup. The damage she does is just insane. What holds her back though is her special skill. Her special skill is a supportive skill on a burst character. Why would you have a supportive skill on a burst character? I don't understand. She is supposed to do like maybe single target damage, and like do burst, like do a lot of damage. Or with her lethal, like maybe do like a good amount of AoE damage. But why does she have a supportive special skill, a nuking meta skill, and an AoE lethal skill? I don't know. For me, this doesn't make any sense. I guess her second skill, the meta skill, works pretty nice with the lethal, but it's just I don't know. I don't feel like it's right, especially like the special skill. That one is just a no-no. Her first passive, it's nice. It's pretty nice. Like the lesser HP you got, the more damage you will do. Good one. Pretty self-explanatory. Her second passive though, it's weird. She does magic damage. Why does she increase her own physical damage? That kind of confuses me. Which shows like that the game's mechanics are kind of all over the place right now. But that's besides the point. And then her third passive, it's nice. It's just a nice buff. Another supportive skill, which I again don't understand why on a burst character you have two supportive skills, which both of them are kind of passives, but whatever. So, next character is, how do I pronounce this without fucking swearing? Oh shit, I did it 3 times in a row. So, Phantom Shiro, whatever. I never really used him. I have him level 60. All of his skills level 1. But I really think that he actually has a lot of potential. His skill 1 is just a simple heal. The special skill, it's just a simple heal, nothing crazy. The meta skill though, it's a very nice buff, and it's 3 blocks, so the range is actually pretty good. It buffs some physical attack and magical attack. And then we have the Spartan, which is a weird skill. He summons basically a minion, whatever, and that minion can act like he does damage. He tanks, so he can act as a tank. He can act as a damage dealer, and it's also pretty nice because the minion takes the stats from your Phantom Shiro, meaning that if you build your Phantom Shiro with a lot of HP, then the Spartan and the character himself will have a good amount of HP, and they might help you progress maybe in tower if you need a tank. And it's just a nice skill. Like, I see potential in this character, even though I haven't played with him. Then we have the passive. The first passive, it's just a niche. It has death prevention, which is very good, which means that if you get hit once, you will not die, which just makes your opponent waste an attack on you, and then he will have to kill you with another hit, which is pretty nice. The second passive, it's just like barely exists. I guess if you max the skill, then it might be a lot more significant. It might matter a lot more. And then the third passive, which is just a niche passive to have. It's like nothing. It's nothing crazy. It's just a niche passive. It's pretty nice. Next one is Emmy. I never expected to use him at all. But I just end up having like so many dupes that I made him S. I ranked him up, and now he's actually pretty nice. I like him. So his special skill does absurd damage. It just does a lot of damage. Like my Emmy without any parts, he does like 800, which is just crazy to me. And he also pushes your opponent, which might enable your backline or maybe like some of your squishier characters to actually make a move and kill that character, because that character might be out of position because Amy pushed him. So there's a lot of mobility just in his special skill. Like it's pretty nice. And then we have his meta skill, which actually is pretty nice because it does basic damage, and then at the end of the turn your opponent also takes extra damage, and that damage can stack up pretty nice. And we have the meta lethal. We have his lethal skill, which is just a crazy nuke. So basically he has three skills that just work almost perfectly together, right? He has like a lot of damage on his special, then he has damage and bleeding on his meta, and then he has a lot of burst damage on his lethal, which is just very nice. And he also has leech if you use Abby as well, and she hasn't died, I think. Yeah, she must be alive on the field. If she dies, you lose that extra advantage that you have. Then we have the second lethal, which is also very nice. Not lethal. God damn. Jesus. The second passive, excuse me, which is also very nice in my opinion. And then we just have a raise crit. Pretty simple and pretty nice in my opinion. Very good character, very good frontliner. I don't know how I would build him. Probably a bruiser, meaning that he can take damage and also do damage, like not full burst nor full tank. Yeah, that's my recommendation. Very niche character. So next one is Melly. Melly is a hidden gem. She is a very weird character because from what I recall, all of her skills are trash except one skill that just carries the entire kit. Her first skill is just not really good because she shares the damage. She splits the damage and makes it an AoE hit, which is just not like it's kind of a waste. Then we have the meta skill, which is actually like probably my favorite like meta skill in the game, which is basically she does three things in a single skill. She reduces the cooldowns by 2 turns of every character that is near her. She increases the speed, and she increases the physical defense by 15%. She does so much in just a single skill. Like, that's very good. Like, the decrease in cooldowns might enable like many comps in the future to just like go like ham and cheese. So yeah, pretty nice. Then her lethal, complete garbage. In my opinion, complete garbage. I don't know. That's how I just feel. The first passive, it's okay. It's not really too much in my opinion. Although if you level it up, it seems that it increases by quite a good amount. It can reach like 30 extra attack. But Amelie's kind of more like a tanky support unit. Like, I don't know. That's how I feel about her. I don't think she's a damage dealer in any way. So I would definitely build her with like a lot of HP and then just put her on the front line and then follow up with a bunch of close range characters and then refresh with the meta skill, like reduce the cooldowns. Then the third passive, pretty niche. Nothing crazy. It's just a niche character. It's just a niche passive. And the character itself, it's pretty good just because of that skill. That's all. Boy, oh boy, did people freak out when they saw Oddball in that position. Yes, he's he's for sure top 3 best C characters, and I think he actually is a B character. Like, this character is just insane. I know it sounds crazy. It also sounds crazy to me, but I went through his skills like again and again and again, and I saw that every single skill on him, including the passives, just makes so much sense. He is a tank, obviously. He's like a clear tank that with every skill, he somehow increases his sustainability. His special skill increases the how do you call it? The physical and magical defense. And the increase is also for Strange, which is like the next character on the tier list, which is also very strong. Like, these two characters are very strong together. Then the meta skill creates a shield, right? And it also heals himself while the shield is on every turn. Of course, if you cannot break the shield will eventually go off in 2 turns. But that is pretty good. Like, just very hard to kill. And then he has his lethal, which reduces all of the damage taken by a huge amount. I think this should go above 60%, right? Which is just crazy. Like, you can like get first turn with this guy and just walk literally straight into the opponent and just activate this skill here. And you will soak up so much damage, and your opponent will waste all of his meta just to kill Grotesque or Oddball, call him however you want. So yeah, his 3 first skills are just incredible. And then his first passive, this thing is crazy. It increases his physical defense by a huge amount. The increase can go up to 20%, which is very good. Then we have the second passive, which he basically like gets like an extra chance to get an extra turn, and he heals himself as well after each move, which is pretty nice. It's nice. It's a niche passive. And then we have the third passive. When taking damage, increase 3% of your physical attack for 3 turns, stacks up to 5 layers. What the duck? What the duck is this? Why? Why? I don't understand. Why did they add this to a tank? I really don't understand. But besides like the final passive, everything else just makes perfect sense, and it's beautiful. It's just beautiful. Like, that's all I have to say. Next one is his partner or buddy, call him whatever you want. Strange. His special skill, it's nothing really crazy. It just gives extra physical attack to him and Oddball. So that's why you use them together. I mean, that's not the only reason, but that's one of the reasons. Which also doesn't really make much sense to give attack stats on a tank, but I mean, his third passive also gives him attack, which is whatever. But then we got his meta skill, which is basically like increases attack for himself and Oddball, and he also increases his attack range by 2 blocks, which can make him like good maybe to snipe something, or like just target something for a little bit, like do some fluff damage or whatever, which is nice. It's a nice skill. It's not like something crazy, but it's still nice. Then we got like the lethal, which is it does like a good amount of damage within 2 blocks, vertically or horizontally. Why does this exist? The damage is very low, and it's also very conditional. I don't get it. I really don't get it. But then the passives are kind of carrying this character. His first passive, his move in the first turn is increased by 1 block, so he can start aggressively in turn 1. And he also increases his HP, so I guess that kind of gives him more survivability. And then we have the second passive, which is when oddball is on the field, you ignore 5% of the enemy's defense effect, and that 5% increases. I don't know how much the increase is, but it increases, which that's what carries him. The fact that he might be able to do a lot of damage, but as I said, I don't have parts. No player has parts right now. It's only been 3 days. This character has a lot of potential, but we just don't know. I think the multipliers on his lethals are pretty low, but he has the passive, he has the attack increase on his meta skill, he has attack increase on his special skill, and he also has another damage increase on his third passive. He just has so much damage increase, which might, like, this might be like a hidden gem as well, because he might do a lot of burst damage, like a crazy amount of burst damage. So I don't know. I'm kind of skeptical about his rank, about his tier right now, but I think it's well deserved. Next one on the list is Pelly, our first S rank character. This character is weird. I know like some Pelly fanboys, fangirls, whatever, might be disappointed to see him so low. I was also a bit disappointed because I also liked him, but his kit is just so weird. His first attack should do a good amount of damage and reduces the healing from like the enemy. Like if the enemy tries to heal, the heal will be reduced. And then we have like Berserk, the meta skill. It is a very nice skill. He just stacks leech more and more and more and more and more. But then we have again the AoE attack. I mean, on Pelly, I think the AoE attack is not too bad because his second skill is not like for nuking, it's actually for stealing life. Meaning that this character, I guess, could be like the character that you draw the last in arena if you're out of monsters, in hopes of not monsters, characters, my bad. Sorry, I'm playing too many gacha games. In case like you run out of characters, you can spawn him, summon him, whatever you do in arena, and then he might be able to 1v1 or 1v2 because his second skill provides leech, and the meta skill, and then the special skill reduces the enemy healing. So, and then the lethal is also an AoE attack, so you leech even more. So this character could potentially solo, but if you have a good composition, you won't really need to solo anything. Like if you have a good team, I don't think you will end up in a situation where you actually need to solo something. So that's why I'm kind of iffy about Pelly. Then we have the first passive, which I like. It just increases her physical attack by 11%, which also like the value increases as you level up the skill. And he does extra 20% damage to pirate enemies, which I think that they are 3, if I'm not mistaken. I could be mistaken, but I think it's 3. Then we have the passive, the second passive skill, which he basically cleanses himself, which is a very good because it's a very good skill because some characters reduce your physical attack or your magical attack, or maybe even your defense, so you might get ducked, but if you get a turn before you get ducked, he will remove that, which is very good. And he also has 5% heal, which I'm pretty sure also increases if you skill up the skill, if you level up the skill, whatever. And then we have his final passive, which just increases the chance that he dodges an attack. And he also ignores the damage reduction effects that the enemies may have, because some enemies might have damage reduction on their passives or their skills, or it's just maybe a buff that they have, and this character just ignores a portion of it, which is pretty small, but I guess it's still something. And in like 1 out of 5 matches, it might make a difference between killing something or not killing it. And it also has 2% dodge, which might increase if you level up the skill. I'm not sure. Next one on the tier list is Mist. I pulled him like an hour ago, and I think on paper he's pretty nice. Besides his special skill that doesn't even do 100% of the damage that he's supposed to do, instead he just does an AoE and damage just gets split up way too much. But of course you can change that if you level up the skill. But I'm still not really a fan. I guess it could do like good damage, but still it's kind of iffy. But then we actually have the meta skill, which I'm really a fan of. So he's kind of like Pelly and Kaylee, if I'm not saying that wrong. Yeah, Kaylee. He just sacrifices a lot of HP. You can sacrifice a lot of HP by spending meta, and in exchange you get a lot of physical attack. So you can just stack that and completely destroy your opponent when you decide that you had enough of stacking and you just want to attack something. So this thing can do like up to double, or wait, triple. He can triple his own attack, I think. No, I think it's double. Yeah, I think he can do double damage if the skill is maxed. And he also cleanses himself. He removes one debuff every time you use that skill. And then he has the AoE on his lethal, which I'm not a fan of. But just because he has that second skill which increases his damage by so much, I think that his AoE might be a burst AoE, which is, it seems crazy. I haven't built mine, my Mist, and I will build him and try him out, but I think he will work actually very nicely. Then we have his passives. His first passive is just, he gets like a small attack increase from a defense block, nothing really crazy. It just makes him squishier though, with less survivability. And then he makes with the second passive, the AoE, the first skill, the special skill, it gives it a leech effect, which is why I give it an exception on the first skill, on the special skill, because it also has a leech effect if you invest enough in him and unlock his second passive. So I guess his second passive makes his special skill kind of niche, because with the second skill you just reduce your life and you get extra attack, and then use your AoE, and then you also use your special attack and you replenish a portion of the HP you lost to get attack. So yeah, I think it makes sense. Like his kit just makes sense. And then with his passive, with his third passive, he just buffs his lethal by an extra target and 10% extra damage, depending on how low his HP is. So you reduce your HP with the meta skill. You reduce your HP by a lot and you get a lot of attack. Then from third passive, you also get extra damage, right? And then you can just use your third and then your first and leech back all the HP that you lost, or at least like a good amount of the HP that you lost, which is just nice. His kit, well-rounded. It's just well-rounded. It's pretty nice overly on paper. Boy oh boy, are people very pissed that I put Gray at the same tier with this Mist guy. One thing that many people have not realized, myself included, is that Gray has the tankier stats out of all of the S characters, S tier characters, S rank characters. He has the highest base HP, and he also has good base physical and magical defense. I actually think he has low physical defense. I'm not sure. The problem with him is that he has tank stats, but his skills match the skills of a fighter, of a frontliner that just does a decent amount of damage. But his stats just say otherwise, which just makes the character very different. The special skill gives him a counter, which makes him a sort of a tank type character, right? Then you got the meta skill, which he just buffs himself with attack, with extra physical attack, and with 1 extra hit range. And then his third skill, which is the lethal, for whatever the reason, he does burst damage. He does a lot of crazy burst damage. But he has tank stats. Tank stats with a burst skill, with a burst lethal. Confuses me. I don't know. Then we have the first passive, which is just a niche passive. It's nothing crazy. Like it's another tank passive on a character that has a burst lethal and also a buff for that burst lethal, which just doesn't make sense. Doesn't make much sense. Then, funny enough, he has the second passive, which is called offensive defense. I don't know. I don't know what else to say. So, yeah, his third passive. I almost forgot about this one. His third passive. It's just a niche passive. I really hate it when they don't specify things. Gains immunity to most of the debuffs. What are the most of the debuffs? I don't get it. I don't get it. Also, he has the same effect as Shito, in which he takes like one little hit will be negated. So if you do an attack that is supposed to kill him, he'll completely ignore it, and then you'll have to waste another attack to actually kill him. So yeah, a very confusing unit. Tank stats, tank passive, tank special, with a burst type, meta, and lethal, which is just complete duckery. Next one is Zuma, which I think I should take to a higher tier list. God, she's actually very nice. Like, her kit is just pretty solid. The thing is that with her, along with like some other characters, like pretty much almost every single previous character, I will not go too much into detail of their skills. Like, you can check them yourself, because this video will go like for 2 hours if I explain in detail what they do. Or you can just like open the game and go to the testings and see every single testing and read their passive. So I just don't want to waste your time. I just want to explain why things happen here and there. Just explain why I think that's how I do it. More specifically, Black's Brawl, like the Taylor's version. So her first skill, very good. She has self-sustain on her special skill. Pretty simple. Then her meta skill provides a good amount of mobility, which is pretty nice. Just provides mobility like block. Then her lethal is a good AoE. It's actually an AoE of 9. It does okay damage. It's kind of iffy, but it's still okay, I guess. Then the passive just the first passive provides even more mobility because it gives meta. I think every 2. Yeah, kind of. Like if you step on the defense block, in the next turn you will get meta. So then we have the second special skill, which also is another niche skill and passive. The second passive is just niche passive. Although one thing that is kind of crazy to me is the amount of physical defense she actually grants to that target, to that beautiful next, which is 25%. And then she just, with her third passive, she buffs the speed by just leveling up the skill. She just provides a lot of mobility. She just enables your team. She's kind of like a melee, because melee like provides a lot of mobility in a way that she decreases cooldowns. This character gives meta, increases movement speed, and increases speed as well, which is just pretty nice. In my opinion, she's very good. I think I should have placed her a bit, maybe 2 more ranks up. Now we got Ray. For Ray and Lemon, both of them, I don't really have anything to explain. Ray just does stupid amount of damage. He just does a lot of damage. Why is he not higher? He has no survivability. Zero survivability, and if you use him for offense, you might get cucked simply because he doesn't have any survivability, unlike God Rose. And Lemon, basically like the triple S rank monster. She's so high in the list just because she's just so helpful. She enables so much. With her special skill, she heals 2 characters by a good amount. She has constant healing for your frontliners, basically. Then she has attack buff. I think it's attack buff for the damage dealer unit, the DPS unit. And then she has maybe the most broken lethal, which is a huge ass shield to everyone around her, and the range is also pretty goddamn nice. So yeah, Lemon is a crazy unit. She should have been like S for sure, like a S rate. The hell's rate? S rank hero. Then we go to her passives. Her first passive is just an extra heal. She just heals for a little bit. Actually, yeah, she heals for a little bit more. Then her second passive increases her survivability by even more when her HP is below 40%. And then the final passive, it's just nothing much. Yeah, it's nothing much. It just increases the range of her ult, which can come in handy, in my opinion, actually. But it's still niche. It's nothing game breaking. It's just a niche passive to have. Next on the list is my favorite character in the entire series, in the game and in the anime. I haven't seen the anime, I haven't finished it, but I have seen something. So yeah, he's like the best for me. And I don't put him so high up because he's my best. I put him so high up because he does some crazy oof. Okay. His special decreases physical attack by, I think that's 15%. I think that can actually go up to 20%. He decreases physical attack up to 20% to whoever he hits. That is pretty crazy. The reduction on that stat is actually very high. Then his second skill basically forces your opponent to waste an attack on your clone. And if they spend an attack from a non-DPS unit, they will need 2 attacks. So if they attack the clone with maybe a tank or maybe the support, they'll need 2 hits. So, and if they don't kill it and they just ignore it, they will take damage every turn. So his clone is also pretty nice. His ult is oof, it's just crazy. He takes every clone back and increases his dodge rate by 20% each. That is crazy. And he also heals himself. So he has great survivability. He also has decent defensive stats, He's not like a DPS unit. He's how do you call him? A hybrid. Yeah, a hybrid. Then we go to his passives. His first passive is just like increase in defense if you have like full HP. So that's like the first hit you take like a decent damage reduction from that basically. But everything after that is just normal. The second passive, he raises his magical defense if there are clones, and if there are no clones out, he increases his dodge rate by a crazy amount. And then his third passive is just not really a passive. Like he increases the crit chance of the clones, like it's almost nothing. Pretty solid unit for PvP in my opinion. Like you can pull off some pretty sick stuff, and if you're lucky enough and RNG is on your side, you may dodge a lot. Like you may make your opponents like waste so many attacks to kill you, and then they might not even end up killing you because you just keep dodging. Because in these skills, which is why I actually placed him so high, the dodge rates don't expire. They do not say that they expire on anything, meaning that you can just stack that over time. Unless, of course, there is a limit and they just don't mention it, because let's be real, like the text on the text/explanation on all of the skills are pretty bad, because I just translated it, and it's, as I said, a new game. It's just pretty iffy right now. But that's not the point. The point is that if there's actually no limit, this character might even be a bit higher on the tier list actually, even though he's already like super high. Next one is my second S tier unit, S rank unit that I pulled. And again, I don't put him so high just because I own him. There's no point in that. I put him so high because he might actually be the most versatile character in the game right now. He basically has like two stances or two modes, I guess you can say, in which the first one is just an aggressive, which also buffs your team with attack, and it also gives them shield. And then you have the second form or second mode or whatever, which is the extremely defensive mode, which reduces damage taken by, I mean, it increases over time, but it's a good amount. You have a good amount of damage reduction, and he also heals himself. So with just because of this skill, this guy can actually sustain a lot. Like he's an incredible tank. And then his special skill is also another tank skill, which he just does extra damage based on his HP. I imagine like how you're supposed to use him is that with his meta skill, you use that when you want to go all out, and then if you're in trouble or in danger or whatever, you want to use the second form, the lethal form, which is just dumbass crazy defensive form, whatever. And then we have his passives, which just give him a lot of sustainability, like ways to escape and stuff. It's just hard to kill this unit, and you cannot just ignore him because he does damage and he also supports his team. So it's hard to kill him, and you cannot also ignore him. So what do you do against him? That's why I rank this character so high. It's just he's so hard to actually deal with. Then we have his first passive, which is just an extra chance to move. Oh, I also increased his movement range. That one I never actually noticed. At the start of a battle, yeah. Okay, so after that, he also gets extra move chance when he's low on HP, which is what makes him hard to kill. You're trying to kill him, he might get an extra turn if he's low on HP, and then he might just run away or something. Then you have his second, how's it called, passive, which just increases his physical attack when his HP like drops. So the lesser HP, the more damage. You have seen that. And then his third passive is just an upgrade to his aggressive form, to his attack form, whatever form. This character is just so versatile. He can act as a tank, as a support, as a damage dealer. Not really too much as a damage dealer, but he can also do damage. And he's also very hard to kill. So good unit. Just well-rounded. Next one is Raid on the list. This guy is broken and I really feel like he should be nerfed. Like his special skill decreases the opponent's physical defense by 35%. 35% of this poor man's defense is just gone. It's out of the fucking game. And of course, like that, it's only one turn effect, but it's still so much defense just gone. And it enables like pretty much half the characters in the game to actually do a lot of damage. So we're already off to a crazy start. Then we have his meta skill, which I think actually is not like anything crazy. Oh, I take it back. I just saw the cooldown and the fucking meta. This thing is broken. Like every one turn, he can just switch positions for only one meta. Like once per turn, he can switch positions with the one that has the lowest HP and also heal them. Every single turn, he will be able to do that. Every single one. Why? Like this character is just broken in every way. Oh my god. And then we have his meta, his lethal, which is another broken skill. It just reduces healing by 30%, which probably gets higher if you level up the skill. And then how do I explain this? The damage that your opponents do the damage that your own heroes do to the opponent that has this effect on his head, basically, they will do 10% extra damage, which is just pretty crazy. That 10% might become larger if you upgrade the skill. We don't know yet. It's a new game. We don't have details, pretty much. And then his first passive gains an extra move chance. I don't know, man. His kit is just so crazy overly. His second passive, he does more damage if he's 50% extra HP. If he has like 50% or more HP, he does extra damage. And then if he's lesser, he has more healing. This guy has almost perfect kit. Like, and even his third passive is also pretty crazy. Like this guy has a perfect kit. He might as well be like S tier. He's very strong. He's extremely strong. He needs a nerf, in my opinion. He really needs a nerf. Then we have, in my opinion, probably the most toxic thing you can face in War Chest and in Brawl. This son of a 5 children has, oh my god, he every single turn he just keeps getting extra turns. He kills something, he gets extra turns. I think if he steps on a defense panel, he also gets extra turn. Or no? Yeah, I think I'm mistaken here. But basically what this guy does, he has insane burst. He just does a lot of damage. And he also gets extra turns. Like, there's nothing more into this guy. He just gets so many extra turns. I won't go into explaining how he gets them because it's a bit complicated. But like, one of the ways is just he kills someone, he gets extra turn. I think on the next round though. So I guess that kind of makes him balanced. Wait, did I even call his name? Unmitious. ambitious. The hell is ambitious? What the fuck? And the last one, the one and only S tier in my opinion. I am not even a God Rose fan. I like him, but like I'm not really going crazy for him, right? And I still place him so high because this guy is just broken. The thing with him is that he has on his special attack, I think, if I recall correctly, he has damage reduction, so he takes lesser damage if you hit him. And then all of his all of his darn skills have AoE, and they also pull characters. They just do AoE damage. He does this and that. He's all over the place. His passive gives like 10 crit rate, which is okay, but that also stacks. So in arena where there are so many opponents, he can have like 30% crit rate extra just for free, which is it's broken. It's kind of broken in my opinion. He's also God Rose is broken. Did I mention that? Yeah. As I said, this character is just insane. So I was right. His second skill, the meta skill, just pulls stuff near him, and then you can combo that with his lethal, and just do a bunch of AoE damage. His third special also, his third passive also helps him do some extra damage, which is pretty nice. And then his second passive just helps the special skill do more damage, or actually no, more range, I think. Yeah, more range. And then we talked about the first passive. He just gets some extra crit rate every time he kills something. So that's the list. That's the tier list. Please remember, this is only for Brawl. This is for Black's Brawl only. Anything outside of that content, the tier list is just different. Outside of that content, this is not a tier list. Okay, so that first, second, it's only been 3 days since the game was out. I'm just trying to like give you a general idea of my understanding towards these characters. Now I'm talking about who's good and who's not for Brawl, in my opinion. Next time I will talk about war chest, because from what I know, most people care about war chest more than this. So I will make a video about that one as well. If you don't agree with me, please tell me why. Like, I want to know. Like, tell me in the comments. What's your opinion on most of these characters and their placements? I know some characters are very wacky, my bad, very wacky, like Oddball, Strange, and Pelly. These three are just, this doesn't really look like a tier list, to be honest. With these three over there, it just doesn't even look like a tier list. But yeah, this is it. Also, keep in mind that in Black's Brawl, you can also control the enemy AI. So, for example, you can just put Oddball in front, which is why he's good. And he doesn't need to taunt or anything, or provoke or anything. He doesn't need any of those mechanics. He just stands there and the AI automatically attacks him, right? So as long as the rest of your team keeps a distance and they don't get hit by a rogue bullet or whatever, they are gonna be fine, and Oddball is gonna continue getting the attacks, and he's so tanky, that's why he's there. And that's how you control the AI. So yeah, if you couldn't control the AI and the AI was actually unpredictable, this tier list would be different. I think I would have also placed God Rose lower than S tier, actually. So yeah, so AI, the enemy AI, plays a huge part in how this tier list is also formed. That's why Oddball is so high. That's why God Rose is so high. So yeah, that's my opinion. Tell me, please, like in the comments. Tell me like what's your opinion on this. Yeah. Have a nice day. If anyone made it till this point, dude, you're a god, man. I don't know. You're just a god. So yeah, that's all. Have a good night. Peace.